Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Today's guest is Awais Ul Haq. I really hope I pronounced your name correctly.
Yeah, you did. It's a vessel
Uh,
hug. That's correct.
Okay, thank you. So he's an entrepreneur, a legal tech strategist, and founder of Time Tech Law. From leaving a $6,000 a year civil engineering job due to corruption to earning just $5 a month as a physics teacher to building and selling a six-figure tutoring business. Awais has built his career by turning setbacks into systems. Today, he helps law firm founders navigate AI, workflow automation, and growth strategy in one of the most tech-confused industries out there. Awais, welcome to the podcast. It's a pleasure to have you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So, Awais, usually on my podcast, before we get into the proper interview, I and my listeners usually try to get to know our guests. So we want to know more about you, aside your accolades and your expertise. We want to know you as a person.
Mm.
So you can
Right.
tell us more
So,
about yourself. Yeah.
right. So basically, I uh, would like to tell everybody who's listening today that I do not come from the riches. My parents were not rich. I was not rich. I was born into a middle class family. And my father was basically a civil engineer himself who worked in the government. So, um, from there, we were always taught that a job has a security net, a safety net, which gives you some amount of money every month at the end. And that's how we are supposed to live. But I believe that I am here in this world to make a difference, not just for my own life, but for everybody else who's struggling like myself at that time. So, my mission today is not just about growth in terms of money, but inspiring all those people who feel like that they're born into a family which uh, is not rich and there's no way out to get out of that zone. I have proved it for myself, and I believe everybody can do it.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Awais. That was actually a very wonderful introduction. And honestly, I kind of like, I would say our stories are kind of similar, except I'm probably a bit younger than you and, still trying to make something of
Mm,
myself. But our stories are kind of similar too. In the beginning, it wasn't really easy. It was quite difficult, but towards my late teens, I think, things started to kind of like step up financially
mm,
for my dad. And fortunately for us, we were able to get our own house where,
mm,
my parents are currently staying. And the rest of my siblings, my dad has been able to further their education, which I'm
mm.
fortunate we are thankful for. So yes, we
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we need to find our way in this life and try to make something out of ourselves. And of course, at the end of the day, contribute
Mm,
back to society as opposed to just being, a participant, just somebody like an NPC, if you will, in the game.
mm. Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, so
Exactly.
I can kind of relate to everything you just said, and thank you so much for that. So you walked away from a stable engineering career. What made you
Mm.
choose integrity over income?
Right. So here's a personal story that I want to share. So when I joined the government sector, like my dad, I went through a proper exam and then I joined the government. I
Yes.
was paid highly, but when the very first day I learned that uh, there are almost 300 employees in the office that I worked in, but in
Yeah.
reality, there were only 25.
What?
So, yeah, so you would be surprised. And this is something I tell everybody. that uh, you know at that time I was pretty confused as well, just like your reaction, right? So I used to remember that every month's end, our senior engineer would hold a briefcase, and in that briefcase there was like a lot of money in it, right? And that
Yes.
money was basically charged to the government for the ghost employees which were never there. They were just on the paper, but they were never in the office. So what they would do is they would take that money and distribute amongst themselves, right? So
Yes.
I, my mother has always been a very, very staunch Muslim, and she believed that a person's integrity and truthfulness is above anything else. And I did
Yes.
take that from her, and I believe that I resisted that change. I resisted that whole thing. So what they did
Yeah.
was they did not like my presence because I would not sign on anything that was fraudulent. So they would send me to far off areas, remote areas every single time just to take, revenge from what I used to say. So
Yes.
ultimately, there was a point where I had enough within 1 year, and I thought that, okay, this is not working for me. Either there are two ways from here. Either I can be complacent, I can start taking the bribes that they take, or I could build my own thing. So I resigned from my job. And the
Wow.
funny part is that I
Yes.
did not tell my dad. Thought that he might think that I made a stupid move. Well, he could have, if I had told him at that time, he would have just said that, okay, if even if it's difficult time, you should just stick on. But
Yes.
the whole system was so corrupt that I didn't feel like spending even a single day within that system. So I quit and I said, I do go to the office. So the next 1 year, I was not going to the office. I was just going out of my house and I was searching for different sort of jobs, right?
Yes. Yes.
And at that time, I remember a teacher who used to teach me in my IGCSEs. I went to him and he said, Awais, do you want to teach with us? And I said, yeah, sure, I can do anything right now because I don't have any money.
Yeah.
So I remember that he said, okay, what do you want to teach? I said, because I've done civil engineering, physics is a subject that I believe I can teach. And that was the first time I went to a class where there were like 5 or 6 students. And when I taught a lesson, I was not a good teacher at all. And they said, okay, this teacher is really bad. And we don't want to, study from him. So
Okay.
literally the students kicked me out from the classroom at that time.
Yes. But can I ask a question before you
Yeah, yeah,
continue, please?
sure. Yeah.
So, why did you think you weren't or why did the students think you weren't a good teacher? Is it because of probably the way you taught them, or because they could not understand? I mean, you being an engineer, you deal with complexities a lot. So
Yeah.
probably when you're trying to teach them, it was too complex for them, or probably your teaching style. Why do you think that happened?
The thing was that at every level, you need a certain command. You cannot go beyond the scope of the subject. And obviously,
Yes.
I had studied all that, but uh, being a teacher, there's so many other things that you have to do. It's not just
Yes.
about delivering the content, it's about connecting with the students,
Oh,
answering their
I see.
question at their level, right? So
Yes.
I was being an engineer, like you said, I was solving complex problems, which obviously was not their subject matter. So
Yeah.
I couldn't, in the start navigate through what they really wanted from me. So that was the thing.
Okay. 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 Please continue.
Yeah. So then I'm really thankful to the person who was actually running the tuition center at that time. And he said, Awais, you're not experienced enough. And what we can do is we might not pay you at all. And I said, sure. But the thing is that he did not kick me out. He said, why don't you spend some time, build command over the subject, and once the students feel like that, okay, they want to study from you, then we'll start paying. And for 1 month I worked there for free. And the thing is that I used to
Wow.
burn a lot of fuel, and I used to feel bad that I'm burning my fuel, I'm going to some place which doesn't pay me. But
Yes.
still, I believe that nobody actually starts from the very top. You have to start from the very bottom. And
Yes.
stick to it. And within days, the first pay I got was only $5, right? And that was the
Wow.
commission a student paid. I stick to it. And to be honest, that those $5 were a lot of money. I still remember that I went out and ate a local, in Pakistan, it's like a samosa. So it's like a sort of a fried potatoes with a batter on it. So that was
Okay.
the best samosa I ate because I felt like that, wow, after so long, I've earned something. And I
Yeah.
still remember
Yes.
the happiness.
Yeah.
So after that, honestly don't even recall how I grew so quickly because of just one fact, and that was I was in a sort of a fix, a problem, but I did not run away from it. Faced the challenges and I stick to it.
Yes. Oh, wow. Oh, honestly, your story is quite inspiring. It's filled with a lot of resilience. A man who would not sell his dignity and integrity for money, and somebody who's actually very strong-willed. And I honestly admire that. I and also one particular thing I want to point out is the level of corruption that was going on in the place where you were initially working as an engineer. It is
Hmm,
honestly mind-boggling.
hmm,
Like where I live, for example, in West Africa, corruption is almost, if not a normal thing, it's almost a normal thing here.
hmm.
It's brazenly crazy. You
Yeah.
understand? So I am kind of like, and I know what corruption is like. I know what it's like. And that's why I can kind of relate to what was going on in
Hmm,
where you were staying. The fact that lots of people could have been occupying that remaining 175 positions, that could have been jobs for young people that could have fed families, you know,
hmm,
probably even if it didn't like take the families out of poverty or lack per se, it could have given them an opportunity, a starting point for lot. And were these people doing? They took all this money and they were keeping it to themselves. It's honestly just and I'm so glad that you had the courage, of which then again it's something very brave.
hmm,
It's a very brave thing to do because I know that
hmm,
there are places where if it's as if there's somebody here who's not in cohorts with what we are doing,
hmm,
their next instinct would be to probably, kill that person. And
hmm,
the fact that you had the courage, amidst that risk, you had the courage to, challenge the current system and be like, no, I cannot stand for this. And what did they
hmm,
do? They started to punish you, by
hmm,
pushing you far away or giving you jobs and taking you to a remote area to do a job where probably you may not even find anyone.
hmm.
By the end of the day,
Yeah.
you decided to, to quit your job there because of what was going on and just forge your way, which is actually a very brave thing to do. So you went from, earning $60,000 a year to $5,000 a month. I cannot even $5,000 a month, maybe at that time, but nowadays, $5,000 a month is not even enough to pay for your network subscription, honestly.
No, it
So
wasn't actually even $5,000 a month. It was $5 a month.
oh, sorry,
So I
sorry.
could,
I
yeah.
actually, sorry. I actually, sorry. I made a mistake. If you're listening, it's actually for our listeners, it's actually $5 a month. I sincerely apologize. That was my mistake.
Mhm,
$5 a month is not even enough to pay for probably a week's subscription. Not to talk of,
mhm. Yeah.
to take care of yourself, to pay for your transport, to pay for your feeding, probably even your
Yeah.
rent or any other kind of bill you need to attend to for a whole month. I don't think it's possible. So what kept that ambition alive, even when you were lacking so much money that you even had to work for free to
Mm,
prove to
mm.
someone that you were viable, you were competent, and you're actually good for the job. So what kept that ambition going? How did you do it?
Right. So we have to basically dig into two things here, right? So the two dimensions. One is why people go through that mess of corruption, right? And how
Yes.
did I basically quit? The reason is that when you're in your early 20s, right? You have a
Yeah.
lot of time. You have a lot of leverage that people don't understand. You have more energy. You don't have a family of your own. You don't have to feed people, right? So it's
Yes.
only you. So you have more leverage to take certain decisions, which may impact your life for a long term. Now, those people who were in the serial positions, they were obviously 30 or 40 or early 40s. They had families, right? So a lot of people
Yes.
who basically do this kind of illegal stuff, they try to blame all that on their families. So they say, okay, I'm doing it because I have to raise my children, right? And when you
Yes.
get into that system at that age, it's very difficult to build something of your own. So all the people who are young in their early 20s, or I say they're 18 or 19 right now, I think they should really focus on entrepreneurship. And why entrepreneurship? Because obviously they don't have a lot of baggage that they need to take care of, and
Yes.
they can take high risk decisions, unlike people who are now settled into their jobs. Like myself, I do run a business, but the thing is, if I believe I can do the same thing now, if I could quit the job or quit the business right now, it's not possible for me because obviously I have a kid, I have a family, I have a wife that I have to take
Yeah.
care of. So as you grow older, your responsibilities grow as well, and the decisions you can take are going to be very, very difficult. That is what I tell every young person that I meet, that if you're not married yet, if you're really young, take gigantic, enormous decisions, and you will actually be in a very good place in your 30s then.
Oh wow, that's wonderful. So essentially, what kept you going amidst everything you were experiencing and you were going through was because of the fact that, first off, like you explained, there was no baggage, there was no immediate responsibility that you had to attend to. You had ample time to build yourself. And if you actually think about it, working in a corrupt place that can actually be dismantled at any time if it's found out, if it's found to be corrupt, or probably,
Mm.
where because of there's a saying that there is no honor amongst thieves. So definitely at some point you could actually get betrayed and kicked out of the place. So in
Yeah.
if you look at that in of itself, it isn't sustainable. It is definitely not something you would want to do for the rest of your life, or you'd want to use to
Mm.
start a family and build your future. So I really
Yeah.
don't understand why you decided, why you just, you actually kind of, it shows how much foresight you have as a person. Because you sat down, you thought about it, I can't continue to do this. I won't be able to grow if I continue to be in this kind of place. Because the company itself doesn't even have the mindset of growth. They're just after how
Hmm.
much can they take. Then
Yeah.
till there's
Exactly.
nothing left to take, then they'll just abandon it and move on to the next place. And whilst they are doing that, they know that they are destroying the future of the younger people there. They're supposed to be mentoring and helping, build the future and whatnot. So I honestly do understand. So whilst I was preparing for our interview, I was doing my research
Hmm.
about you, trying to get to know you as a person, so I can know the kind of questions I can ask you. So I
Yeah.
saw somewhere where you were scammed when you were building your LMS. So I could have easily checked what LMS means, but I was like, you know what, I'm going to leave you to tell us everything
Hmm.
about what an LMS
Yeah.
is, what it's all about. So what mindset shift turned that loss into leverage for you? But first off, just
Right.
explain to us what an LMS is.
Right. So LMS basically stands for Learning Management System. It's a software which helps, manage student, teachers, and the admin, as well as parents. Um, I basically ran my own online academy at that time. Around, I think, 2021, I started it as a business, but I was doing it much before than that. So
Yes.
when the number of students grew, I had to hire more teachers. I was teaching physics, so I wanted a teacher onboarded for biology, chemistry, mathematics, everything else. But every day, as the student number grew, we felt that it's very hard to manage their payrolls. It's very hard to manage their classes. We don't know how many homeworks are being given, what is the attendance of the students, and the reporting to the parents. So we needed a
Yeah.
system. And because I was selling a service which was around teaching, I did not have any idea about the uh, the education. I mean, the software sector. Now, I went to a software house and I asked them that if they could build me a system like this, and they were like, okay, we could do that, and they paid. They asked me to pay a certain amount initially, and then we had milestones. At the very end of that, they did not complete the software, and they just handed over to me, and they tried, they scammed me on that, and I was pretty,
Mm.
shocked. I was like, the last milestone was actually quality assurance one. Quality
Yeah.
assurance in software development is a sort of phase where a software is complete. Now they have to test everything, if everything is working, if there are no bugs, and it can be pushed to production. So they stopped at quality assurance and they said, you know what, uh, we feel like that this is a big software and you should hire a developer to do it on your own, and we might not charge you for the last milestone, which was only $200. I had already paid like 25 grand for that. Anyway,
Oh, wow.
so that software was like really, really bad. Nothing worked, and I put a developer in place. While I was putting a developer in place, from my earlier experiences, I've learned that when you hire somebody, right, you do please don't think that how will you pay him, because whatever amount he basically is that you have to pay, it will be generated by the universe itself. And I'm a big believer on that, because
Oh, wow.
people they have their own destinies. People have their own, the amount of money they will earn in their life, and it's already, settled. If you keep
Yes.
somebody, you will start earning, because you will become a source how the god is going to give you money, right? So the god pays for them, but it's through you as a business owner. This should be your mindset when you're hiring somebody. Obviously, you should not overhire. The other things about that, but do not be afraid of hiring people. So when I hired
Yes.
that developer, obviously, developers and nice developers cost a lot, and I had to somehow justify that how will I pay his salaries. So I knew that the software, in 6 months we developed it so much that it was in working. We tested it out in our own business, and it was the parents were telling us what they wanted. We kept on adding features. So the next thing I
Yes.
did was I called like 100 school owners, and I remember a big list of other tuition centers, and I just called them, and they knew me because of the business I was running, and I just
Yeah.
said, I have this software. I'm willing to pay you. I'm willing to install that within your system, and this is the amount I'm going to take for the installation, and then monthly I'm going to take this amount. And to my surprise, a lot of people, after, because the COVID had recently hit, and
Oh, wow.
a lot of people were shifting towards online education, so they really wanted something like that, and I kept on selling. At that time there were obviously a lot other softwares, big softwares from US, but they were charging a lot, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to charge that much, because technically it doesn't really cost as much to maintain that. So I
Yes.
kept on giving, and by the time, within 1 year, I had installed in 300 schools, and then I got a contract from a big network of schools which wanted us to install that software, and we did. And that's how my software development company journey started. Because we were
Oh, wow.
already in revenue, I had a lot of developers working at that time, marketers working at that time. So as we kept pushing hard, uh, and we brought more sales, automatically I would hire more people to develop that. And at this stage, that software brings a lot of money still to my business, and we are now moving towards law firms because we believe there's a big gap, and we could really help them with our expertise.
Oh, wow. Otherwise, your story, as I've said before, and I will say again, is an inspiring one. Now, what inspired me the most about what you just told us about how, after being scammed, you were still able to, build your LMS, your learning management system software, which you eventually, sold to schools for a subscription every month, which actually is a very good business model. Now, what I want you to observe, what I observed personally about your story, rather, is that you were actually preparing. Amidst what happened, you still continue to build, you continue preparing. Then all of a sudden, it's as if preparation meets opportunity, what everyone calls luck. You understand? Luck for me,
Yeah,
or it's actually something I saw somewhere, and I kind of like believe it. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. You were building
mm,
this software system that allows people to, manage their curriculum and everything has to do with school and whatnot, if I'm not mistaken. And all of a
yeah,
sudden, from nowhere, COVID hits. Now people have to what? Shift more towards learning online, virtual learning, where the students will be at home or in a particular location, and the teacher will be somewhere else, but they will be able to, learn. The teacher will be able to educate the
mm,
students
yeah,
through software. Unfortunately, you had already built your software and it was working perfectly fine. Now, all you had to do was just go out there and let people know about it. You might have had competition because of the fact that, like you explained, you built it in your country, which is Pakistan, if I'm not mistaken. So,
yeah,
I mean, Pakistan, the US, it's different economies, so different
yeah,
expenses and whatnot. So essentially, you were at an advantage. And because of the fact that it was made by you, you speak the language, it's your people, definitely they would pick your product over for an international one. So that was what
mm,
inspired me the most about your story. You never gave up amidst everything that happened. You continue to push forward. And all of a sudden, like people say, you got lucky. But then again, like I said, you were preparing for that opportunity in the future. You didn't know when it was going to come. You just continue to prepare, continue to work, continue putting your product out there. Then all of a sudden, COVID came in, which was the opportunity and your business blew
yeah,
up, which is actually very
yeah,
wonderful. So
yes.
you've built and sold a six-figure tutoring business. What do you think separates builders from dreamers?
Right. So, see, any business that you have to build, right? I always tell people to just start selling in the first place. A lot of people make this mistake. They have big ideas and they think that once that idea matures, maybe I'll get a software, maybe I'll get people to work with me, and then people are going to buy from me. That's a very wrong approach, in my opinion. I think
Yes,
for a founder, if you want to start a business today, you have to learn sales and marketing as the prime subject. The reason why I say this because sales is something that builds the pipeline that pays everybody in your office, right? And
yes,
what people miss out on this is, and this is one thing that I have seen in the law business as well. When I talk to a lot of lawyers, what they do is they want to get a lot of softwares initially. They want to get an office secretary, they want to get paralegals, they want to hire their attorneys. They keep on investing in things which do not generate money. They would want a big office because in their head they think if a client walks in, he should see that how good I am, how good I look. I
yes,
should be wearing a Rolex,
yeah,
I should be driving a fancy car, so people would be impressed. Actually, people don't care what you wear, what you do in your private life or public life. People care if you can solve their problems.
yes,
So the thing is that if you really want to make a business, you have to sell, number one, and identify if there's a need in the current market. Then I have another strategy. If there's no need in the current market, create a need in that market. Now, creating a need means that in Pakistan, nobody really wanted an LMS because they thought that, okay, who's going to get online? There's bad internet. There's like people are so, reserved when it comes to spending money. But
yes.
what I did, I did not think about that. What I did was I picked up my phone and I called 300, 400, 500 people. And
Wow.
uh, I said, you know what? This is the return of investment that you're going to get at the end. I never talked about how great my software was. I never talked about how great I am. You see, oh, I built a business of tutoring. I can do this for you as well. I never talked about this. I said, this is the software that's going to give you X amount of money within this time frame, and this is the goal that you're going to achieve in this time that I'm promising you. And that's how I captured their attention. Now, a lot of people, what they try to is they will always say, "Hi, my name is Awais. I build a six-figure business, and you should work with me." To be honest, it doesn't really matter. And the other way of thinking is, if I know that person and I have researched enough, I call him. I say, "Okay, I am going to help your business in this way. I'm going to solve this problem, and the result of this is going to be X increase in revenue, less uh, improvement in efficiency, or XYZ, whatever your goal is." The ultimate
Yes.
thing is that people are going to listen when you are going to talk about their benefit, not your own benefit. And that should be the mindset of any salesperson. And as a founder, I say, if you want to grow today, go out, buy 10 different books of sales, start reading. Because once you go through them, you'll understand the psychology of sales. And once you do that, you will never ever die poor. So that's the thing.
Wow. Thank you so much for that premium. That was some premium platinum wisdom, Awais. Thank you so much for that. So, Awais, now you're beginning to focus on legal tech.
Yeah.
Why do you think the legal industry is behind on AI and automation?
All right. So legal industry isn't, so there are two camps, right? So I'll just be very fair with all the audience. I'll tell
Okay.
exactly why I feel that this is a golden sparrow industry. Number one, um, one camp is highly active when it comes to AI, and they are going into the hype. Now, as a founder, and I do have a lot of coding experience now as well. So I can tell you that AI at this stage is not capable of handling everything autonomously. In fact, it
Yes.
is not even capable of being an assistant. It is capable of being a tool. A tool is just like you wouldn't cut a an apple with your hand, you would need a knife and a sharp one.
Yes.
So AI is that sharp knife that speeds up things, but it doesn't really take away your intelligence. Now, the
Okay.
thing is that every single day there are like tens and thousands of new AI SaaS softwares that are being released in legal tech world. And this camp, which is going into the hype, they keep on buying that stuff without thinking whether they need it or not, right? So what I'm trying to
Yes.
do is I am trying to educate them that why you should pick a software, and if you have a problem, then only if that software solves that problem, you should go for it. So I am consulting them on that basis. Then there is another camp, and that camp is living in the 60s. You might be surprised that 95% of the law firms in the US still haven't adopted AI as the tool
Wow.
that can help them, speed up things. What they're using is they're using ChatGPT. Um, yeah, exactly. And
And
if
to
I
them,
go back,
sorry to interject, and to them, that's as AI as it gets.
yeah, exactly. And they're trying, and they feel like that chat GPT is going to replace them, but actually they're going to be replaced by their own ignorance in the long term. So
Oh, wow.
you might be surprised that out of 10 people still in the US, three do not even have websites. And I'm talking about lawyers, right? Not even
Wow.
websites. So, and if you, uh, the audience, and I challenge everybody, go on and check their websites. You would be surprised that their websites are like old, slow loading, really, really badly designed. They have no focus on it. They feel like, okay, this is something we needed. Okay, we created it. Somebody did in like 10 years ago, and that's okay. But that's not okay
Yeah.
because that's losing them a lot of business. So I'm actually
Yes.
trying to tell them that you're not growing because the world is shifting so quickly that the camp which is falling behind, and that camp is the 95% camp. So
Yes.
the main problem why this 95% camp doesn't do it, it's not about, they don't, they charge by an hour, and some people go from like 250 an hour to 3,000 an hour, and you'd be surprised that they don't have built a website that looks good, has a good design, has a conversion based approach. And the reason is they're very, very lethargic, because in the law world, they don't trust easily. They're always skeptical because they're lawyers, right? We understand they have
Yes.
to, dig into something.
Yeah. It has to be in
And
their nature.
yeah, and you know, what I feel is that if, let's suppose I say, okay, Blessed, I know you and you do something like this. I know a lawyer. If I tell him, okay, Blessed is a guy who works really well on SEO, he's probably gonna buy from Blessed, even though he has 10 looked at 10,000 ads before. So they are very
Yes.
referral based, and the referrals, they also get referrals from other people as well. So they understand referrals. So
Yes.
building that trust is very, very important. But again, I say it a lot of times. I've actually said it to so many lawyers, and I say, you guys are really good advisors, but you don't take any advice. So, and they they
Yeah.
do understand that. They do understand that yeah, that's what we do. And I think uh, it's not just about making money from them. It's about the mission that I'm solving, that I want to make sure that they start taking advice from the right people. Like if you go into get into a car accident, right? Or there's
Yes.
somebody who has actually done something fraudulent or illegal, a normal person would always think of a lawyer first, right? Even
Yes,
though
definitely.
in the whole world, and it's not just about Pakistan or West Africa or US, in the whole world, lawyers are basically called liars. And that's what
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah.
paints them, right? But
Yes,
it does not mean that all lawyers are lies. I mean, there are bad apples, right? But then
definitely.
they do understand that that's the stigma they have. But then when it comes to tech world, they would always stigmatize everybody in the tech world. They say, okay, they're trying to sell me something. Oh, they're trying to get a lot of money. They're probably scamming me. But actually, they need to understand, talking with people, they will never scam you. They will scam you when you don't understand something. And that's what you need to know. You need to understand tech, but you don't have to implement it yourself. You should get a person to get it right. And if you get scammed by a certain individual, that doesn't mean the whole industry is wrong. You have to
Yeah.
trust people, and they will benefit. They'll give you immense benefit in your business.
Oh wow. Oh, thank you for that premium and platinum wisdom. That was actually, something these people need to adopt that they don't even most of them don't even want to even get to know. And there was one particular aspect you mentioned about how most of them their websites are like decades old.
Yeah.
So, or some they have, you will see a URL. The moment you tap on it, a 404 error, page not found.
Yeah.
And you'd be
Yeah.
surprised, like, what's happening? Are you not supposed to be a
Yeah.
professional? So you
Yeah,
think it's
exactly.
just it's mind-boggling. But I'm thinking, it's kind of like one of those things where at first people nobody would pay attention, just like the way the AI bubble is right now. Just a few people are paying attention. Nobody really cares that much. Most people generally don't care. Or they are like, nah, it's like a few decades from actually being, viable or having any kind of proper or lasting economical impact.
Mm,
But
mm,
we're just like probably 5 years away from that, probably, or maybe even less
mm,
than that. Because I'm not
mm,
really that much of an expert, but I do try to,
mm,
keep up with the space and the times. There's one particular video that actually, kind of like sells it for me, sells the fact that AI is coming and it's really coming and it's going to be
mm,
quite impactful on humanity in general. I remember the first
mm.
time I saw an AI generated video. I think you should know the American actor Will Smith.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen that video.
Yeah, so there was a video of him eating spaghetti, and
Yeah,
oh
yeah,
my god, the video was horrendous. Honestly, I was like, so
yeah.
this is what, so the regular saying where they say AI is going to take our jobs and what, and so I was like, is this what is
Mm.
going to take our jobs? It's not even, it can't even render a proper video. And just 4 years later, when I think it was this year, beginning of this year, if I'm not mistaken, or is it last year?
Hmm.
The towards the ending of last year, Higgsfield was released.
Hmm.
Higgsfield made a video. I honestly thought this was shot by, Hollywood
Hmm.
level
Hmm.
production quality, kind of, if you will.
Hmm.
This was a
Yeah.
proper video with proper camera angles, proper cutscenes, and proper dialogue. And
Hmm.
guess what? It
Hmm.
was all AI generated. And this was just in
Yeah.
a space of about 4 years or so. And to get to the point where we cannot even believe whatever we see on social media on the television anymore because AI is coming and it's really coming. So everyone needs to buckle up, especially the lawyers that you're trying to help. They should actually come and meet you and be begging you to help them, you
Hmm.
know,
Yeah.
break into tech
I agree.
and yes, and incorporate it into their business or their sector. So, anyways, what is the biggest mistake you think founders make whenever they are trying to adopt AI into their business or the particular sector that they work in?
All right. So I'll actually have, I have a point of view in this, and I want to bring that point of view first before I answer that question that you asked. You
Yes,
see, what you see right now in the videos and images from AI. Uh, I don't want this podcast to be very technical, but there are different sort of architectures, right? So I just want to
yes,
tell you that AI is going to be really, really good when it comes to videos and image generation because of the diffusion model it has. But when it
yes.
comes to the predictive model, that is the chatbot one, it's not going to be really good even after 5 years, unless they actually change the complete architecture, which might take a lot of effort, but it might be possible.
Oh, oh
The thing
wow, oh
is, yeah. So this is something inside thing that I want to share, but there is something very alarming that you need to understand. You
yes,
see, the AI that we're currently using is from maybe five big tech companies, right? I
yes,
mean, China is producing their own models, but that's heavily subsidized. Now, why do I say they're heavily subsidized? Because you see, if ChatGPT, the OpenAI, has promised that it would spend about $1 trillion in next 5 years to in the infrastructure and build that infrastructure, but it's making only 13 billion a month, right?
yes,
That basically brings us to a conclusion that the economics of AI doesn't sit very well. The problem is that the investors are putting in money and they're betting on something like you and me would be so hooked to AI that we will keep on paying the subscriptions, right?
yeah, yes,
And AI gets commoditized very easily. So ChatGPT just released like $8 month plan because they want more people, right? But the thing is, they're
yeah,
not
yeah.
making
I
money.
saw
They're
that.
feeding. Yeah. So imagine a scenario in next 5 years, right? You have around, let's say, two billion or 3 billion people start using AI, and then
Wow.
now they don't have money to feed in or subsidize it. Governments do not have that kind of money to subsidize it. What will they do? They will come back to their actual price that basically makes sense, right? That's how the businesses
Yes.
work. Now, when the actual price hits, you and me, my friend, are not going to be able to afford the AI or the top models because
Oh wow.
obviously they need to have a greater compute power to keep on running that AI. And if they need
Yes.
more money to do that, they have to charge more for that. And if they're not charging
Yes.
more, how can it be a sustainable business? So the problem is that it's going to be expensive. Right now, what we're seeing is amazing things because everything is so cheap, but it's not going to stay that for very, very long. It doesn't make sense. And that's
Oh
the
wow.
issue with AI, right? The other thing is a lot of people say, okay, you know, people are going to be replaced. I say, all right, yeah, maybe people are going to be replaced, just like the people who used to, take people from one place to another on a cart now have been
Yeah.
replaced by cars. So horses are replaced by cars, but that doesn't mean that AI is going to do it because horses are living things. They still are worthy because they do a lot of stuff in the agriculture industry. Cars
Yes.
are faster, but cars actually help bring an outcome. What AI is doing is AI is eating up its own GPUs. So you need to keep on, upgrading the GPUs or replace them. How is it
Yes.
possible that a GPU that lasts 2 years or 3 years um, can be compared to a car that lasts for 20, 25 years? That doesn't make sense. So
Yes.
one thing is
And
that.
sorry to interject. I don't even think a horse can walk for 20, 25 years straight. I highly doubt it's possible that a horse can walk that long.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
thinking probably a decade. Then at some
yeah,
point the horse becomes too old, too weak, too weary to continue. So
yes,
so
exactly. But you see,
that's another point to the argument. Yes. Continue, please.
but the horse can produce offsprings. GPUs
Oh,
cannot produce their offsprings.
yes, yes, yes,
So the
that's so
thing is, the thing is, that's the major issue with AI, that you have to keep on feeding money into it, and to keep it, to make it better, faster, you have to put more money into it, and it doesn't make sense. Now, here's what people are thinking, right? And I don't think that's the thing. Now, if you're somebody who is a person who sits around the court and he writes stuff, right? He drafts stuff.
yes.
Obviously, you're gonna be replaced because you're doing a job that can be done faster by AI. But if you're somebody who basically does that job within 10 minutes from AI, and then you can onboard like 50 more clients. Now you're in the
Yes.
job because you are the person who's basically making it faster. You're not the person who's making it slower. So
Oh wow.
jobs which basically people think, okay, I believe that I might create something that is of a low value that AI does very efficiently. Obviously you're going to be replaced, but if you learn AI to do it faster, you're never going to get replaced because you're going to get more customers to do the same
Yes,
thing,
yes.
right? So
100%, I agree.
what founders are making the mistake right now, and recently, Baker McKinsey is a big law firm. It replaced 3,000. It basically fired around 3,000 employees. I think it was 3,000 or 6,000. I can't recall it exactly, the number, but
Mm.
on the premise that we are replacing them because we are now planning to apply AI agents into our firms. Now think about it. The word planning is the main keyword here, because if you are planning to apply something, why are you firing people right now? You should implement something, and if you see a positive ROI because of it, then you're supposed to fire people. The problem with these industries is, and most of the big law enterprises, they hired a lot of people. They hired a lot of people, and they hired a lot of people, and what they're doing is, post COVID, they're trying to reduce the headcount. Now obviously they're being funded by other people, so they need to
Yeah.
justify something. The justification is that, okay, we are removing these people because AI is here, we're replacing with them with AI. But if you ask them, have you implemented AI yet, they would say, no, we haven't. So the problem is, this is called AI whitewashing. So actually,
Yeah.
the AI is not being implemented yet. They understand it hallucinates. They understand it makes mistakes. So
Yeah.
obviously, people cannot be replaced. But oh yeah, we need to reduce the headcount that we basically hired so many people earlier. So why not just blame it on AI? And that's what's happening right now.
Oh wow. That in of itself, if I'm allowed to say it, is definitely corruption.
Yeah, it's.
Is
I
it
think it's. It might not be corruption, but it's kind of an unethical practice that
okay?
you are being not truthful to the people you're firing, right? You could have just told them, see, we are reducing the headcount, and we might not need you, and you should find other jobs. But
Yeah.
telling them that you're being replaced by AI is sort of a fear mongering that they're doing, and that basically, that thing uh, trickles down to other firms. So they think, oh, we can do it, but then when they implement these agents, they realize that, oh, they cannot be fully autonomous, and they don't give us the ROI that people used to give. So
Yeah.
you might go on and read about a lot of firms recently, about Salesforce. Salesforce is rehiring 4,000 employees that it fired. So why would the tech company rehire? So it's a joke. It's a joke. Yes, I
Yeah.
do understand that it can improve. I do the same thing. I do a lot of automations for law firms. So when the case is, a person puts their information in their website, we automate it to their CRM, we automate it to the drafting phase. But
Yes.
it doesn't mean that you need to remove the people. In fact, now the same people can handle more cases in the same amount of
Yes.
time. So
Yes. That's
that's
the
the
funny
thing.
thing.
Yeah, so nobody is actually worthless. In fact, all you need to do is be a little better at using AI, and the jobs are not going anywhere. What you see right now is just AI whitewashing, and it will continue for a couple of years until people are going to see
You.
it doesn't give you that sort of gain that they hoped in the first place.
Oh wow. Otherwise, you are the first. Okay, I think you are the kind of like the second person because I spoke to someone yesterday who actually works in a company that makes this AI stuff. So
Yeah.
he did break some things down for me to understand. But I think your perspective is one that gives the clearest, a realistic worldview on how AI is actually going to affect us. Now, the first thing you pointed out that I love the most is the fact that people think AI, most people don't know what the cloud is. When you tell them,
Mm-hmm.
I've uploaded my photos to the cloud, they'll start looking up in the
Yeah.
sky and be like, oh, so your photo is in the cloud right now. I'll be like, no, my photo is in the data center, probably somewhere in America or
Mm-hmm.
in Asia or in the Middle
Mm-hmm.
East that is hidden from people that are being
Mm-hmm.
serviced by thousands of employees that is on
Mm-hmm.
constant power supply that is very, very hot and has to be cooled down with lots of air conditioners and has to be maintained every 10
Mm-hmm.
months or so, so that the
Mm,
data doesn't overwrite itself. So trust me, it's not some self-sustaining, all powerful as much as you think it is. Just the same way these AIs are using chips, GPUs and CPUs, and they
mm,
degrade over time.
mm,
They need to be changed, they need to be replaced. And this
mm.
costs what? Money. It's the
Yeah,
reason why we're currently experiencing something called, at least in developed countries, Ramageddon, where RAM is somewhat in shortage because these AI companies have kind of like hoarded all the
yeah,
available RAMs in the market. So people need to understand that the only way this AI is going to continue to advance and maybe at some point replace all of us at our jobs is if the infrastructure that is what is the word I'm looking for? The infrastructure that it's built upon that's actually, propagating it or, enabling it to work gets cheaper. And with the way the world's economy is going and whatnot, that doesn't seem to be the case. So there's a report.
exactly.
There's actually there might actually be an alternate reality where it all falls apart and
Mm.
everybody goes back to being we just go back to the regular internet and whatnot. So essentially companies need to get innovative on the infrastructure that powers AI to make it kind of cheaper and whatnot. Then you pointed out again that AI, because of the fact that the infrastructure is kind of limited by its financial constraints,
Mm.
AI isn't yet fully autonomous. It still needs human intervention to function
Yeah,
properly. So you as a
yeah.
firm or
It's not
the
just
founder.
blessed. Honestly, it's not about the AI being fully autonomous. To be honest, right? Um,
Okay.
I sell AI automations. I also sell regular automations. But the thing is, here's what the dev shops need to be honest about. And I honestly tell, because I was scammed, so I don't want to scam anybody. I will tell them, okay, this is what it can do, this is what it cannot do. Why would I
Yes.
sell hype so I can make money in this era of hype? And then in the long term, people say, okay, Awais is the person who scams every single time. I don't want to have an image like that. In fact,
Oh
Awais should
wow.
be the person who should give the right advice, whether you should
Yes.
actually implement AI. Because technically, if I say, okay, AI is something that doesn't give you a lot of ROI that people are right now creating hype about, it destroys my own business right now. That's what I do, right? But the point is, business isn't everything. The relationship is thing. If today AI is here, I'm building truthfully, I'm telling them, okay, this is the limitation of AI, this is what it can do. Next time there could be anything else in the tech world, and it moves quickly. So why should I lose customers telling them a wrong thing today and lose them tomorrow? I want my customers to always come to me for the advice, and that's what business people should do. And that's why I think the market is being destroyed by overhyping. When you
Oh
overhype,
wow.
sell to a customer, get their
Yes.
money, all right? You say, okay, my AI agent does something like truly autonomous paralegal work, and law firm buys it for 25 grand, and then they see, okay, that was a mistake. They're never going to talk to you again, whether there's
Yes.
AI or not. The problem is, that's what I believe in. If you have a problem, talk about that problem. And if it can be solved by AI, sure, I can tell you if it can be solved by AI. If it cannot be solved by AI, I will tell you exactly it will not be solved by AI. So why should you be paying premium for something that doesn't work in the long term? And that should be the approach of every single business owner who's right now pitching AI, because AI has certain limitations and they should be very, very transparent about it.
Oh wow. So it's not even essentially about the fact that it's not autonomous. They are just lying to people. It's
Yeah,
actually
because
kind
you
of
see,
yeah.
technically, AI basically looks at the prompt, right? So it's basically like it reads the first word and then it generates the next word, right? So
Yes.
even if you tell AI to go, let's suppose you're in the law business and you're like in the business law and you're looking at different companies, and you tell an autonomous agent go there and look at their websites and see what information you can get. Within their website, there might be certain information which AI is reading word by word, or maybe even if it's multimodal, so it can read like a couple of words together. But the point is,
Yeah.
ultimately, it's reading the word and then predicting what could be the best answer for the next word that it generates. So, automatically, you need to understand for a human's perspective. See, I was talking about this story from another lawyer. He's a friend of mine, Rory. He said
Yes.
a law firm owner, his friend, he basically asked an AI agent, the OpenClaw thing. So he he implemented
Yes.
OpenClaw, and it's asked OpenClaw to go and book a table for his client, right, at a fancy restaurant nearby. So what it
Yes.
did was it called the restaurant. Sorry, it went on the website and it tried to fill the form, but for some reason their booking system was down. So what happened was that it could not reach out. Now the problem with AI is it needs to complete the task. So what it did, it went to a subscription service of 11 labs, I think, and then it created the subscription, cloned the voice, and then called the restaurant. Now it did do the job, it did book the table, but then the lawyer, he basically saw the credit card bill of the subscription, right, that he bought. Now, for a
Yeah.
human being, because AI doesn't understand the consequences, right? If let's suppose I was his assistant or paralegal, he would call me, okay, book a table for me. And I'm like, okay, sir,
Yes.
which restaurant? It's like any restaurant that you feel like is good. I'm gonna go look at the reviews. I'm gonna go and try to book a table. If their system isn't working, I will pick up my phone and I'll call it them, right? I would
Yes.
have to buy a subscription because I understand that cost money, and that's a conscious decision that I need to take because it has certain consequences at the end, right? So now
Yes.
AI doesn't understand that. So it doesn't have that world view, right? So
Yes.
if I would be a very stupid person to hand over my credit card and hand over my personal details to an AI and I let it run wild because I have to get a job done that my paralegal is charging me for. So
Wow.
that's a huge
Yes.
risk, and that's a real story he
Yes.
told me.
Yes.
So imagine this stupidity that these AI automation companies are trying to sell to normal users who don't understand AI. They're like, okay, you can build the whole firm just as a founder. You don't need other attorneys. Don't need paralegals. Don't need drafters. Don't need receptionists. What you need
Yes.
is my agent, and oh my God, it's going to solve every single problem. But in reality, it doesn't work like that. In fact,
Yes.
there's another funny story I'll tell you. So I met this lawyer. He came to me and is like, okay, I need my website to be rebuilt. I said, what happened to your website? He said, basically, I signed up for this SaaS company who said my SEO can be done within for $50 a month. I was like, okay. And I'm not getting any leads anymore. So I checked his website. He was getting around say 400 and 4,500 regular visits before he implemented the AI. And when he did
Yes.
implement the AI SEO thing, his website traffic tanked and it was around 50 or 60 now. The
What?
problem is, yeah, because obviously it was copying stuff from there. There was a lot of plagiarism on his website. He was putting random keywords, higher comparative keywords in his website. And literally, it was changing the structure of the website. Now, because there's no human in the loop, it cannot tell the AI, stop doing that, right? Or give it a prompt that, okay, make it faster or something, to improvise. What's happening is
Yes.
it's running wild. And because that company, then I checked the company, right? And I
Yes.
won't name that company, but if you go on Google's right AI SEO company, you'll find that company. And you click
Yeah.
on it. In their website, you'll see, okay, we have like 4.7 stars on G2 and Trustpilot. And then you go on G2, search the company name, you'll find 2.3 rating.
Yeah.
And every single person is actually telling the same thing in the reviews. They're saying they are scamming people. My website is going down since I use this AI. The
Yes.
problem is
Oh
they
my God.
need to understand
That.
this. They need to understand that AI is not anonymous. You cannot give your brain to AI. Please keep the humans in loop. It will make things faster, but it will
Yes.
not make things better if you just kick every person out from your office. That doesn't work like this.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. And this again has to do with the fact that these people are just greedy. But aside that, there was one particular keyword you used when we began this whole AI discussion that I've actually held on to. You said at the end of the day, it is much more of a tool. It is not even an assistant. It is not another, intelligent entity. It is just a tool, more like a knife you use to slice an apple. And I can
Yeah.
100% agree because there have been times I have implemented AI in one or two things and it went sideways because I didn't pay attention to detail. I just thought, oh, let's just automate. Oh yeah, bring it out. Let's use it. Then the moment I want to start using, I'll be like, oh wait, what's happening? What's all this information? What's all this rhetoric doing here? And you'd be like, what? This is not what I asked this AI to do. Then at that point, you just be frustrated, like, oh my God,
Yeah.
when did this happen? Just because you weren't paying attention, you thought maybe the
Yeah.
AI. And that was when I learned my lesson. I was like, next time, even if I ask it to, oh, is this spelling correct? Even if it tells me yes, I'll still go and ask Google. Then I'll ask a
Yeah,
human
honestly,
being.
and
Yeah.
and there's a big test that I tell all the lawyers who are like into the AI hype. I tell them, okay, go and get the best prompt that people are selling. So you say the people say, oh, I have the master prompt for XYZ work, right? So go get
Yes.
the prompt, pay money to them, get the prompt. Now use that prompt in one chat, get the output, right? Now, technically, if I am talking to you, you've just quoted me for the knife example. In the next
Yes.
podcast, if you mention me, you'll still give the knife example, right?
Yes, definitely.
Now, think about AI. If you give the prompt, what example did Awais give in the podcast with Blessed? It will quote the knife example. Open the new
Yes.
chat, give the same prompt. It will not quote the same example. The
What?
problem is, the problem is you say, okay, write me an essay of 500 words on cats. It will give you a completely different essay every single time. That's the
Yes, yes.
problem. You can train people to do it work perfectly every single time. They will make mistakes in the first place, but once they understand the system, they will keep on doing the same task effectively. But if you tell the
Yes.
AI to do the same task, it will give a different output every single time because it's a predictive model. And that's what I tell every single person, that please make sure humans are in the loop when you're using AI. AI is not autonomous. You need to understand this. And if you don't believe me, go on ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, use the highest model possible and do this test. And if it gives you the perfect answer or perfect output every single time in every single chat, I will publicly apologize for my remarks. And if it doesn't,
Yeah.
then please give me your money so I can build you a system which actually does this. ठीक है?
Yes,
So this is
yes,
something that I
yes.
believe. So it's pretty
Oh
obvious,
wow.
and
Yeah.
people can do it. They're smart enough to figure out. Maybe not today, but maybe they'll figure out in a couple of years.
Yes, yes. That's the thing. That's why I said probably in 5 years, half a decade or so, we're going to have AI that is somewhat, maybe probably not at the point of being an assistant, not yet autonomous, but an assistant probably. So that's who Hollywood BS of, AI is going to take over the world and whatnot. That's probably 1,000 years from now. Or maybe I'm just,
Yeah, probably.
uh,
Maybe if they develop, they're great thinkers who
yes,
believe that there will be a time when there will be AGI and everybody will be
yeah,
rich. I hope if
yeah,
that comes up and everybody is rich, I'm all up for
yeah,
it. But it's not
yes,
today. And for
yeah,
the image
definitely.
generation, honestly, go on anything. Go on HeyGen, go on Sora, go on Gemini's Nano Banana, or whatever. And
Yeah.
I still say use the prompt, whatever prompt Gemini you've given to the Gemini, and then open the new chat, put the same prompt, it will give you a different image. So the problem is
Yeah.
it can be a really good image, it can be a really good video. That's debatable, right? But the point
Yes.
is, it will not generate the same thing every single time. So how
Yes.
will you fix that? And if you ask AI companies, how do you fix that? They don't have a straight answer to that. They say, okay, do prompt engineering, you'll figure it out. That's it.
It's honestly mind boggling. Awais, this has been a very wonderful conversation. It's been such a pleasure to speak with you. Thank you for being such a wonderful guest, sharing your insights, your wisdom, your expertise, and most of all, your your personality, how you grew up, how you've been able to walk your way to where you are today. It's been such a wonderful conversation that has spanned different aspects of humanity and all that has to do with just being on this planet. Now, this is my final question before we wrap up for today. If someone feels stuck at the bottom financially, what's that first practical move towards leverage you would advise them to take?
Right. So if anybody feels like that world is crashing upon them right now, I'd suggest do not look at the US, do not look at Australia, do not look at US, UK. Like me, you can build your business within the community you live. Think about
Yeah,
one single problem that they have and try to build something that can solve it. And it could be as simple as a burger cart. If you feel like that there is a place where there's a big gap, there's no burger cart, that I can,
yeah,
start, cooking burgers, do go do it. Because every challenge has its limitations, and if you think about it, you can overcome that. So do not look at the dollar income, look at the problems that there are in your community, start solving that, build trust, build authority in your space, and slowly the world is like has infinite amount of opportunities, and once
yeah,
you grow that business, you will have enough money to build even a bigger business. That's what I've done.
yes, yeah.
And I believe start small and try to be steadfast. And one thing that I, honestly, I feel like I took is, just like you gave an example of NPC. I used to play World of Warcraft a lot back in the day
Yes,
when I was young. And in the
yes,
World of Warcraft game, you don't start from level 80 or 90 or whatever. You start from level 1. You fight smaller
yes,
bosses first till the end boss, right? And the
yes,
end
yes.
boss could be anything. Like it could be asking law firms to buy your product. That could be your end boss. But the thing is, before you reach to that end boss, you have to build that authority. So start slaying those small bosses till you level up to a level where you can now hands on defeat the last boss in your life.
Thank you so much, Wise. That's some platinum level wisdom there. If you've been listening to our conversation so far, please don't forget to, subscribe, drop a like, and give a follow, whatever suits you. Wise, thank you so much for being a wonderful guest. Yes, it's been a pleasure to have you. Where can my listeners, learn more about your work and connect with you?
That's great. That's great. If anybody wants, I do. My office releases a newsletter. I do put a lot of effort into it. My thought as well. You can join my newsletter. I have my LinkedIn. You can connect me on my LinkedIn. I have my website. You can go and call my office anytime if you need advice. And yeah, that's a couple of ways you can reach me out.
Okay, Wise, it's been a pleasure once again to have you. Do have a wonderful day and take care of yourself. And please, everyone listening, do not forget to check out Awais on his website, his newsletter, and his LinkedIn. Awais, it's been a pleasure to have you. Please do have a wonderful day. Continue to grow in your business and take care of yourself and your family.
It was a pleasure. Thank you, Fles, for giving me the opportunity to be on your podcast today.
Okay, thank you. Take care. Bye bye.